All right, welcome to the SYP Podcast. My name is McNaughton Biggie. Joining us for today's episode is SYP creator Scott. Scott, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. I'm back. I'm officially on summer holidays as of 3 hours ago. I am fired up. We are living. I'm excited to pod. I don't think I've done a pod in like 2 weeks, Ian. Maybe since the batch.
I was gonna say probably the batch pod because last week, the pod we did last week was Shmuel and Rav. And then we didn't do a pod for a week, and now we're just doing this week's pod. A couple pods, I guess.
You gave me a holiday, so I'm back.
Yes.
Looking forward to it. We have a lot of content today, so we should get into it. I'm looking forward to it.
We're doing this the Monday after Father's Day. Did you celebrate Father's Day with your dad yesterday, or what did you do yesterday?
It's funny. Yesterday, I basically just studied all day. No one was home. I had
nice.
Well, yes and no. I had to study. I had my exam this morning, so.
No, but that's like the typical Father's Day type. Not the study, but like being by yourself, just wanting everybody to fuck off, and then you can just do your own thing on a Sunday, on a beautiful Sunday where it's been a scorcher here for the last 2 or 3 days. Like,
well, it's funny. Normally, my dad and I would go play golf, or we'd go do something, but he's up working away from Squamish. Yeah, I host myself. I needed to study anyway, so it kind of worked out nice. But
shout out Joe, by the way. Joe rocks.
Joe rocks. Joe gets. He's a pilot. For those that don't know, he flies helicopters. So if you ever need a flight, let me know.
I don't know if is your dad doing this? We're going off topic here, but is your dad doing air ambulance?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So he does a lot of things for the company, but he does fly air ambulance. It's his favorite job. He does do scheduled service on time, so the flights to Vancouver and Victoria. And
I was gonna say my dad this morning on Monday, he flew helijet for the first time in like I think a year, pretty close to a year. He flew helijet to Nanaimo for a project he's doing with his job. So I didn't know they might like very rarely would my dad see your dad doing helijet, but every once in a while, like every blue moon, they might see each other.
They might, yeah. He normally does air ambulance stuff, and he's working away from the harbor, but yeah, he does some good stuff for sure.
Speaking of, I guess, dads and Father's Day, we'll talk about the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open final round was yesterday, Sunday. Shout out John Rahm, not coming out of nowhere, but he just had a solid final round to win the U.S. Open at, I believe it was 6 under.
He was 6 under for the day. Big thing about his final round, he birdied the first 2 holes and he birdied the last 2 holes. That was huge.
It was funny watching on Sunday because I watched beginning to end coverage on NBC, and I mean I watched, and then I watched the hockey game afterwards. But it was funny, like the guys were like DeChambeau, Rahm, Ustays, and not quite Mackenzie Hughes, but a few guys like started out the round really well, got to about the end of the front 9, started the back 9, and they were struggling. Like there was a good like hour and a half segment where the guys were just struggling, and it looked like nobody wanted to win the tournament. And then all of a sudden, John Rahm hits the birdie on 17, gives the Tiger fist pump, and then does it again on 18, which clinches his win essentially. Thoughts on the U.S. Open?
There's a lot. That's a loaded question, Ian. I gotta say.
Okay. Let's start with Rahm first. Well, let's start with Rahm, and we'll go through there.
Rahm deserved a major. I think he was one of the guys in that group that hasn't won a major that definitely deserved one, and he was good for him. Like, first of all, good for him. And it's not like he earned it. It's not like it was given to him. He fucking earned that thing. Again, he big birdies on 1 and 2. Yeah, he again from hole 3 to hole 16, he was par bogey golf with a couple, maybe a birdie or 2 mixed in. I don't remember his exact score, but he was 4 under on the day. And fact is, the birdies on 17 and 18 were huge, and I can't state that enough. 17, it was like a 25-foot slider to the right, which for right-handed putters, as you know, a breaking putt to the right is often harder to read than a one to the left when it's hooking in.
Yeah.
And the fact he made both, nuts. And I think especially the birdie on 18, put a lot of pressure on Ustays to do some sort of damage coming, because remember Rahm was a couple holes ahead of Ustays.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Rahm, by the time he finished 18, Ustays maybe was on 12, 13, 14, like something along. Like he had a few holes to do something, and Ustays just didn't get it done. Unfortunately,
it wasn't just that. It was again, we talk about Rahm again. Like on 18, he could have hit his bunker shot a lot closer than he did, but the fact that he hit the putt, which was huge.
Yeah.
And we look at what Usy's on 17. He blew it into the penalty area, which as soon as that happened, there was no way.
Yeah.
He wasn't gonna. He needed to make par on 17. 18 is a birdie hole, and if you saw, he actually did birdie 18. So had he made par on 17, we would be into a playoff, and could have a different conversation than we are right now.
I was very excited to see John Rahm win. Obviously, his family was there. It's his first win as a father, and then everybody first major as a father, and then of course there's the Memorial Tournament fiasco that happened a few weeks ago, where he had to pull out of the Memorial Tournament because of a positive COVID test on Saturday when he was winning by 6 shots. We all know the story. I want to talk about underwhelming golfers this weekend, because I feel like it's Bryson DeChambeau in terms of underwhelming golfers, and then everybody else. So
not even that. I think let's start with some Canadian content. I think the fact is Mackenzie Hughes was 6 over for the day, which sucks. That's not, especially for a final round. Again, nothing to discredit the guy. He played great golf up until
Sunday.
Basically a whole 7 on Sunday. He was great. He was again in the hunt, going into the back 9. He was in the hunt. He just couldn't make a putt to save his life. He could not make, nothing would fall for him. All of his 10 is like 5, 10, 15-foot putts, which 15 foots you might make half of them if you're playing well. In anything inside 10 feet you should make consistently, and he just wasn't making any of them. And it wasn't like he put himself in trouble all the time. He just couldn't make putts.
He just couldn't finish. That was his issue. He just couldn't finish.
That was his issue. And again, great, good for him. Now we've got that experience. Next time he's in a major like that, maybe he'll do something different. Maybe it's just having that mental experience of having, that experience of being in a major in a pressure cooker situation like he was in. It'll help him in the future for sure. And you talk about DeChambeau. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead. You go on. Go for it.
See, DeChambeau here again. Let's not forget, going into the 10th hole, he was the leader. He was the leader yesterday, and he was hitting the ball great down. Doing what Bryson does, hitting it 350,000 yards.
I thought he was doing a good Phil impression, where he just missed every fairway in regulation, and then he hit like nice recovery shots, and then he putted well. Like that was Phil's thing. That was Phil's thing at the PGA, where Phil, it just seemed like never made a fairway, and then he had some nice recovery shots to put him in good spots, and then he would putt well.
Well, that's just Phil's patent, right? Is that he's just so good at making the recovery shots, and Bryson. That's not per se Bryson's.
That's not. I was gonna say that's not who Bryson is as a golfer, and that's not how he likes to play. I just thought that's how he was playing on Sunday, where he was missing fairways and he was hitting the rough. Again,
and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Let's not forget.
No. If you're a good golfer, can do that. Like a good golfer can miss fairways regularly or consistently and still play good recovery shots to put him in contention. Like it's not necessarily a bad thing. And he was, like you say, in the lead going into the back 9.
The back 9, and then he went 4 over through 10, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
And then he quadruple bogeyed. That's correct. Quadruple bogeyed 17 because he put it in the hazard area as well on 17, and then he shanked a chip out of the bunker for par, and then he had to chip up and he 2-putted for 8. He
played like me on 17. Like it was that bad. Like, and I feel bad for the guy because obviously he didn't, like, nobody tries to play that bad at golf. But good Lord, that was tough to watch on Sunday afternoon.
PJ on the PJ, they have the shot tracers, so you can see like the line that follows the ball, right?
Yes.
On his chip, it just straight right.
Went back into the gallery. Like that's how bad it was. Like it wasn't even on line with the hole or the pin. It just went straight.
Well, because he hit the hosel, he hit the little, the little bit, and then there's the club. So there's a club face, and then yeah. So that's where he hit. And the thing, it's funny you talk about how it went straight right. I think a lot of that because of how he swings. You notice Bryson, he's the only player I noticed do this. He's like standing straight up.
Yes.
And his arms are like locked.
He's designed like that. Like that's how he's practiced and that's how he set himself up. Is just to like do like you say, just straight up, straight arm.
But all I'm saying is that with how he was positioned in the bunker, he had to like choke down on his club, and he can only choke down so far without committing an infraction, right? So again, it's very, it was a really tough spot he put himself in, and unfortunate bounce. But by that point, he was done anyways. Like he wasn't.
He wasn't even winning it by the time it got to 17. So.
Anyways, tough day for Bryson. I'd say those are two of the more underwhelming stories, especially from the final round. But again, going into the final round, there were so many golfers, so many like big names going into the, within the top 15 really. Morikawa was there, DJ was there,
McIlroy was there. I wasn't thrilled with McIlroy. McIlroy kind of underwhelmed me a little bit. Like it just seemed like he was all over the place and didn't seem to have any sort of consistency to his game on Sunday. Even though I think he finished like even par somehow or like 1 over, but
on the day maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly, but again, the thing with McIlroy too is like nothing wrong with how he played. It's just he just couldn't finish putts. I think he was kind of grinding the whole final round, to be honest. And when you're not flowing, when you're not smooth, it's just hard. And that's guys that finish even or 1 over or 2 over, those are guys that are grinding the round. Anyone that's in the red, anything under par, like Rahm, I mean, without going back into Rahm again, but Rahm was just flowing. He's so, and after 17 he was buzzing, and 18 he had a great shot, just missed right in the bunker, but he chipped on, made the putt, and that was the difference maker. Is that Rahm with the flat sticks was huge. And even looking back to in the Tour Championship last year, remember some of the putts he made, or sorry, not the Tour Championship, but the FedEx Cup playoffs.
Yes,
the putts he made were absolutely nuts, and him and DJ were kind of going 1-1, going at it, and it was Rahm's time. So
mono a mono between him and DJ back in the FedEx Cup playoffs.
The FedEx Cup playoffs, 100%.
And I just thought it was just a signature win. Like he just had that. I know everything in golf goes back to Tiger, but that's kind of his Tiger moment of just like sinking the putt on 17, the fist pump, like the excitement. It kind of reminded me a little bit of 2008 when he sinks the putt to send it to a playoff, but just a great all-around story with Jon Rahm winning it. Any other guys or players that you want to mention, good or bad, before we head out and talk about something else? I thought Koepka actually had a good back nine, like to put himself into position. Koepka like played better than I thought he was going to. I thought DeChambeau was going to finish ahead of him, but that was more DeChambeau just shitting the bed than Koepka.
Yeah, Koepka is always going to be in every U.S. Open, every major for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to always be in the mix. Whether he wins or not, that's yet to be seen. He won a couple majors at this point, a couple in the U.S. Open as well, I think. But yeah, it's again, the thing with Brooks is I'm excited. I gotta say, I can't wait for a Brooks Bryson either match or a grouping or whatnot. It's going to be good for golf and good for content. We'll see what happens. But again, Brooks won in terms of who's better. Brooks was better in the final round. Bryson was the better golfer the whole week, but yeah, it was close.
I was gonna say we'll see them go at one another for the next match event. I think which is taking place July 4th weekend in Big Sky, Montana, Wyoming. Because that's the Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady.
That's Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady.
So there's that match, and then of course, obviously, the next major championship will be the British Open, the Open Championship. I don't know what the official name is. It'll be taking place. I think when we're in Victoria for our SYP takeover.
That weekend, yeah, that sounds right.
That sounds right. So we got some great golf content coming up here in the next few weeks. Let's throw it over to hockey now. So as we record this on Monday afternoon, the Vegas Golden Knights stole one from the Montreal Canadiens. Game 4, 2-1 overtime victory. That series is tied at 2, Game 5 on Tuesday night. Before before Game 5 tonight between the Islanders and the Lightning is when we're recording this pod. So we'll see the Islanders Lightning later on this evening. Let's talk about Montreal Vegas first. What a game that was. Just a crazy game, even though it was only 2-1. Crazy game.
Crazy last 23 minutes of hockey.
Yes.
The first 37 minutes were boring as hell. There's nothing happening. But you're right. The last 23 minutes were pretty epic. I'll give you that for sure.
Do we start with the officiating conversation? Are we gonna have? Should we start with that conversation? Because I feel like that's probably the biggest takeaway from that game was
not even just the game, but the playoffs as a whole. I think we'll go into that more later once the season's over, and hopefully when there's some sort of officiating reform. I
don't want to have. This isn't the time and place to have the big conversation right now. That is in the off season, but it's just last night was just so bad and so awful.
And it wasn't one-sided; it was both ways.
I totally agree with you. Like I know people are saying like, oh, Chris Lee is trying to get Vegas into the into the finals or whatever. It's like, no, this was just bad officiating on both sides, and it kind of ruined the game last night. And I don't know how the NHL is going to fix it if they really want to fix it, but I just thought last night these refs were terrible, and I hope they don't call another playoff game again.
There's a point where you got to start calling stuff, and that's the whole. I think Ian, we've talked about it before, maybe off camera, off the record. But there's a certain, as officials, there's game management, and that's with any sport, with any even teams themselves, they have their own game management strategies. They have, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the Islanders in a bit. But refs have a game plan in a way, but it's very fluid and adaptive to what the game presents. And I was a referee for 6 years, so I have some basis here, and the refs may not necessarily fully agree with me, but they'll agree with me on some points. And playoffs are always officiated differently than the regular season, and that's, for whatever reason, that's just how it's been. There's too much stuff that gets let go, and that's what leads to all these scrums and all these, prime example, the Weber and I think it was Carrier incident, or
was it Carrier or Waugh?
No, what? Maybe it was Waugh. Anyways, it was one of the biggest.
One of the biggest.
Bottom six Vegas forwards. So, just quick example. This is just one that sticks out to me. So, Carrier, I'll just say Carrier because that's, I think,
sure.
Carrier hits Weber into the boards from behind. It's not malicious, but it's a boarding penalty because it's from behind. It's not CFB check from behind, which would be a game, but all it needs to be a 2-minute boarding. Ref standing right in the corner, puck was right there, boom, 2-minute boarding. There's nothing else that has to happen. That's it. That's the call. That is as textbook of a boarding call as there could ever be. Look it up in the rulebook if you have a rulebook at home. Look it up. Please tell me that is not a boarding call. I will argue with that. But that non-call, because Weber, let's not forget, Weber's a smart guy. Weber, at this point, he's 36. He knows what a penalty is.
He's no dummy.
No dummy. Sick Moose boy, by the way, from
good BC boy, yeah.
BC boy. He knows the game, and he knows that should be a penalty. Mm-hmm. So, and this, I think it was Kelly Rudy brought up a good point. He's like, oh, okay, so that's not a penalty, so I'll give you one back. Gives him a little shot from behind, is in the head. Yeah, should it be a penalty? Probably 2 minutes for roughing. That's what I would call that. So the boarding gets called. That's the one penalty. But now that's not called. So then there's another one. That's roughing. Weber goes to the box. Weber's now pissed because his call wasn't called. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous, right? And there's more too. So, and then Weber cross-checks Carrier from behind. That's another penalty. That's 2 minutes for cross-checking. And then Carrier turns around after being on the ground, slashes Weber in the back of the legs. No call there. And then they start getting into like a little scrum. So you could give both of them roughing penalties. There were 0 calls of what I just described. and Ian, I think you probably remember this was last night, right? And this is it's such an issue with the league is that you call what you see and you call the first one before it gets out of hand, especially with fouls like stick infractions. That's a different conversation, but where it's physical contact penalties, that's different.
The problem is there's two things for me where it's like if you don't call the first one, it just cycles through the rest of the game, and it's just gonna be rehashed. Like even in the if you don't call it in the first period, don't call it in the third period. And it's like baseball umpiring, where it's like if that's a strike in the first inning, that's a strike in the sixth inning. Like you can't just call that differently as the game goes on. But my thing, I agree with you with stick infractions. It's just when player safety. Like when the boarding or checking from behind or roughing or hits to the head, when none of that shit gets called, that's a problem because now player safety is being impacted here. And you can't obviously everybody knows when you get into playing hockey, you're playing a dangerous game. That's clear when you sign up. It's not the safest game. It's not playing basketball or whatever. But my point is, it's just
not really a good example, but anyways.
It's not really a good example, but my point is that hockey is a dangerous sport. It is a contact sport, but there is a line. Like there is a point where it becomes so dangerous that now nobody's safety can be protected, and the refs aren't looking out for anybody. And who the fuck cares? I'm just gonna hit anybody. It's like when you and I play Chell, and I'm just gonna hit everybody I can because the ref's not calling everything. Like the ref calls more in Chell than they do in real life in the playoffs.
Well, that's not for computers, so they
no, but I'm just saying, like,
you're right.
You just call it. I don't, as a fan, I don't care because as a fan, I just want the player safety to be looked after and cared for, instead of for the fact that it's the playoffs, anything goes. Like,
not quite. There's a point, and again, who knows what the agenda is with the NHL, and we can speculate all day about that. But the fact is that doesn't matter. The important part for the players is they can't worry about it. They can't let that get to them. You know what? Kill the penalty and move on. Like, or if you happen to get a power play, take advantage of it and move on. Like the Braden Point goalie interference. That was not goalie interference.
No,
Braden,
God, no.
There was no way of him being able to get out of the way of that. Pellick clearly pushed him in. Could Point have stopped?
I don't think so. You could try and make the argument. I don't think it's a good one.
Maybe, but it's going to be hard to make that argument. I'm not going to because I think he was pushed in. But anyways, what the Islanders did, they went on the power play and scored. So again, you can't control what the refs are going to do. So why are you going to start bitching and complaining about it? You can't, because you can't do anything. You gotta just keep playing the game, and hopefully you'll get the luck and get the bounces your way. And again, like to your point and my point as well, and it's it is shitty when the refereeing isn't fair, it isn't equal every way, but it's never going to be perfect. But there is, I will say, there is some reform needed. Hopefully this offseason they can take a step back and look and be like, okay, like here's some game management, here's some techniques, here's what we're gonna do. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I hope they do something.
That's been our conversation on officiating. We'll probably do more in the off season.
What we should get Tanner on. Good friend of the pod. He is an active official. He's done some above minor, so he's done some major midget. He's done some junior B, I believe, stuff.
He did a BCHL preseason game too, I believe.
Preseason game. We'll get him on the pod. He'll have some better insights on the officiating aspect of the games, and again, once we hopefully hear, knock on wood, some reform regarding officiating, we'll get him on, and
we'll talk about the actual games now. The teams winning games. Vegas won 2-1. Nicholas Waugh getting the OT winner. That was I don't want to say a must-win game for Vegas, but that's a really tough hole to climb out of, down 3-1 to a stingy Habs team. Thoughts on the Fleury-Leonard situation, because Leonard obviously starts game 4. Fleury gets a rest, and I don't know if they've announced who the goalie is for game 5, but just thoughts on they haven't yet. Okay. Thoughts on Leonard starting game 5 or game 4.
Pierre DeBoer or Pete DeBoer is one gutsy motherfucker. That's one hell of a call. Fleury, there's league-wide respect for Marc-Andre Fleury. He could win the Vezina this year, but he is tired, and that's undoubtedly true. So the fact is, Leonard came in. I mean, the Golden Knights have two star goalies. Let's not count that out. But Leonard played great, and he did his job. He did what he needed to do, and he got the win. And but the Knights need to win that. Did they ever? Montreal, them and Vegas are built so similarly. It's kind of weird how it is. They got really good defense. They have Vezina caliber goalies or goalie in Montreal situation, and 4 lines that can all produce and score. And that's the key right there, is that all 4 lines can and will produce, which is the scary part. This matchup is so unique that way, is that who knows who's gonna win? I don't know at this point.
Pete DeBoer, it's like you've seen the movie Dodgeball, where it's like, that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. That's Pete DeBoer starting Robin Lehner in a critical playoff game. And you mentioned it, 4 lines, like all that can score goals. Paul Byron getting the only Habs goal on a breakaway yesterday. Like,
who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Not me.
Nick Suzuki, who was on property of the Golden Knights not too long, which is interesting. He was traded. He was a key piece in the Max Petrie deal that sent him to Vegas.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's the series is tied at 2. I think it's actually been the better series. We'll talk about the Islanders Lightning a bit, but I think storyline Montreal play is kind of boring, which is maybe an understatement. But Montreal's a little bit boring.
I don't know what you're seeing.
No, because Montreal plays like the slow grind it. Like Vegas has speed, and I think Montreal tries to slow that. Like Montreal.
Well, because they have to. That's the only way they're
gonna. But that's the only way. But like then all of a sudden, as like not out of nowhere, but as you saw last night, like Cole Caulfield like gives them just the random burst of energy out of nowhere in the third period too. Like can just go and make something happen too, where Corey Perry looks like an old man on skates.
Yes, but I might be shedding a little bit of my Ducks bias here, but Corey Perry is a playoff hockey player. You cannot argue against that.
He is.
And who cares how slow he is? You look at Mark Stone. Mark Stone used to be a slow fuck, and he's an effective player, right? It's like, it's players like Stone, it's like players like Perry that make her, again, Perry went to the Cup final with the Stars last year. It's not because of him that they're there, but he's a piece on the team that makes the team whole, and that's why I think Perry's one of the greatest performers, not ever, but right now, because of how I don't know how to explain this. It's like
he's clutch.
Not even that. He's just effective. It's a very lame term to use, but he is effective and he does his job well for what he's doing. And he's playing 4th line minutes, which in Montreal is it's like 3rd line minutes because every line plays so much.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, again, that's, to your point, Ian, you're talking about, the four lines, and Perry's part of that, right? So,
who do you have winning the rest of this series? We got a best of 3 coming up here, 2 games in Vegas. We should know what the finals is by Saturday night. Who do you have winning the rest of the series?
Oh, I did pick Vegas at the start of the year to win the Cup, so I kind of have to stay with that. To be honest, I don't care who wins this series, and we'll talk about the other series in a bit, but I don't care who wins Montreal Vegas. I think both teams deserve to go. Montreal's played their way to be able to deserve it, and Vegas, they're my pick to win the Cup. So, pick them Vegas 7 games.
I'm taking Montreal because I said before the series on our last pod that I have Montreal in the upset in this series because I am rooting for Carey Price. I hope Carey Price, and it's kind of cool having Montreal, like the historic Canadian franchise.
Be the 25th. Be the 25th Stanley Cup would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So
like I said, I don't care who wins, but I picked Vegas just for the show. Ian, you pick Montreal. It's a good pick.
Also, kudos to the Habs for they didn't win on Sunday, but still with Dominic Ducharme out because of COVID, he probably won't be back for the rest of this series. But
they'll have to make it like a final for him to come back.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of what I know I just said they're a bit boring, but the contrast to that, this team has been through so much crap and has so much adversity that they've had to clear all season. And somehow between injuries, COVID, the most difficult comeback of the postseason so far, and somehow the Montreal Canadiens
are in a series against the top
best of 3 series with the best team in the league.
That's facts.
So kudos to them.
And let's not forget, Montreal has what, like 17,000 less fans than the Golden Knights do.
Yeah, I think they have 3,500 over the last 2 games,
which is great. And don't get me wrong, that's great. Yeah. But comparatively speaking to teams in the United States, it's nothing.
It's not even close.
Not even close, no.
Speaking of teams with large fans in the stands, the Islanders of Tampa, again, Game 5 Monday night. Ryan Pulock with the save of the century. Pulock with the save of the century in Game 5.
It plays like that define winning teams and championship teams. That I've got Pulock on my NHL 19 franchise team. He's my solid top 4, one of my top 4 defensemen. Pulock's a beast, and I mean, you and I both love the Islanders, but it's that play was huge, and man, I love watching games in Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. That'd be one arena I'd love to go and watch a game.
It's too bad this is the last season that they're playing at the Coliseum.
But at least they're new arenas on Long Island, and it's gonna have the same, I think, atmosphere and feel. I hope, at least.
Probably something along those lines.
You're the Barclays Center. Barclays is a basketball arena.
Yeah, that's not a great fit for the Islanders. So at least they're getting their own arena, Queens, Long Island, in their territory. They're getting a new arena in their territory.
It's Central Long Island, which is.
There you go. So. But I was gonna say the save by Pulock in Game 4 to end it. First of all, I said heading into because the Islanders were up, I think 3-0 before the start of the third period, and I think I said into the intermission, I said to my dad, like, if there's any team that can come back down 3-0, it's the Tampa Bay Lightning. They do such a great job at just scoring whenever they want to, and they almost got it. They got 2 quick goals early on in the third, and the Islanders shut them down. But that's also how good the Islanders are at just shutting down teams when they have a lead.
Well, and that's, I think I was going to talk about before about, game plans, and, I was talking about officials and they have a game management system. The Islanders have their own, and they're, do they ever stick to their game plan well? They're just so sound fundamentally, and their defensive tactics. Barry Trotz is going to be a Hall of Fame coach. No, you can't, there's no arguing.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
So, and again, we won a cup with the Capitals, and he's hopefully going to win one with the Islanders too at some point. Maybe not this year, but at some point. So, they have a great system on Long Island, and I love the Island. I mean, so do you, but they're one of my go-to teams if the Ducks are out, and the Ducks are very out. So,
So who do you have winning that series, the Islanders or the Lightning?
Islanders in 6.
Islanders in 6. Ooh.
They're going to punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup final on Long Island.
Damn it, that's a good call. That's a good call. I'll say, just for a difference, I'll say Islanders in 7. But I'll say like 6 is a really good play, because if they were to win the Eastern Conference at home for Game 6, that would be pretty cool and pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So that's hockey. That's puck. That's puck. Do you want to go to the Euros part of this now?
Let's go talk Euros. Yeah, I'm not by any means. I am not any soccer expert.
Neither one of us are. That's why we got a fun game that we're gonna play here.
Sure. We can talk about actual football stuff too, but yeah, let's do our
okay. Let's talk about football first. First, Turkey is shit. Turkey lost all of their games to Switzerland, Wales, and Italy.
That's not an easy group for Turkey, at least.
No, that's true. That's not an easy group.
Like, it's overall compared to other groups in the Euro, like that's a fairly easy group. But like it was Italy's to lose, and they didn't. So
shout out Italy. Italy's like one of the few fun nations to root for. I like Italy just because they're Italy. Italy's cool. I want to go see Italy. My ancestral home, Scotland, not doing too well. I think they need to win Tuesday against Croatia and need help from the Czech Republic to advance to the next round. So that's probably not good. Scotland tied England, which is good, but like they also
that's not good for England.
No, but I think that's just who England is, and England's not winning this.
They tend to choke a lot. Yeah,
they're like the Leafs of international soccer. And the other thing too is Spain is third in Group E. They're worse than Sweden and Slovakia. So I did not know that Sweden and Slovakia are better soccer nations than Spain.
I wouldn't say that. That's funny. I don't know about that, but it's funny you talk about Group E, and that is a weird group. But again, you look at some of the stars that are in that group. Sweden, you got Haaland. No, he's Swedish, right?
No, he's Norwegian. Different kind of Scandinavian. Zlatan's not playing either.
Zlatan's not playing, but Poland, who's now last place, Lewandowski is their guy, and he basically got them the draw against Spain, right? So, and it's, I guess, again, I'm not, to be honest, I'm not a big soccer, I'm not super up on it, but it's a weird group because, again, Spain should, in theory, be in first place, and they might be if they actually,
they need some help, I think.
But if they win and Sweden loses, then I think they're good. Depends on goal differential, but we'll have to see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see who comes out of that group.
The other note I have is Portugal and France to decide the last spot, I think, in Group F, ?
That'll be seconds. Group F's weird. Group F is by far the group of death.
RIP Hungary for having to go up against Germany, France, and Portugal in the same group.
All three of those teams, unless I think there's a situation where I think if Portugal loses, they need help, a lot of help to get into the knockout stage. Germany is going to play Hungary. Somehow France and Hungary tied, or they played to a draw, which I don't know how that happened. I didn't watch the game, but
I didn't either. I'm just assuming that France isn't, even though France beat Germany, I'm just assuming that France isn't as good as we all think they are. The question is any team actually good in the Euros?
Yes. Italy, maybe.
So Italy's the only team that's actually good.
Netherlands is 3-0, but they're in an easy group.
Yeah, they played Austria, Ukraine, and North Macedonia.
I'd also say Belgium's pretty good too.
Yeah, Belgium was. I was watching them earlier. They were playing somebody.
Now that De Bruyne is back, that's because he was injured. I mean, he's been here all term, but he was injured. He got injured in the Champions League final.
Yes.
So fact is, he's back, and Romelu Lukaku is playing well, and I think Thibaut Courtois, he's still a goalie in Belgium.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it's looking good. I just remember this is from 2018 World Cup, but Belgium's looking good. I think Belgium's good. I'm
still picking Italy to play Scotland. That's my final.
That's your final. I like it. That's a hot take right there.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton.
I'm gonna say that is a bold strategy, Cotton. I'm gonna say Germany's gonna play Belgium. If that can even happen, I'm not sure if that's possible, but
I have no idea.
Either way, I think it'll be Germany versus Belgium. like maybe we'll get our football experts on this and see what they say.
We'll get Mosquito on here at some point
Yes.
here to talk. We'll get Matthew, maybe Ralph, maybe Neil. We'll get a bunch of people who actually know what they're talking about to talk soccer, talk footy. Do you want to do our little draft thing that I had planned for this?
Oh, the draft. Sure.
Okay, so pretty much Scott and I. So this year, this Euros is different. There are 2, 4, 6, 8, 11 host cities for this year's Euros. Scott and I are gonna pick. We've never been to any of these cities, but Scott and I are gonna pick the best cities, or at least the cities we want to visit the most, in a draft. Scott, you'll go first. I'll go next, and then we'll go. Basically, we'll pick. Do you want to do 10 and leave one out, or do you want to do like 8 and leave 3 out?
Let's do 10 and leave 1 out.
All right, let's do 10 and leave 1 out.
There's one city I've actually been to, but I was 4 months old.
Okay. I have never been to Europe, so I don't know any of these cities. So pretty much to give you the rundown of Euro 2020 host cities: London, Rome, Munich, Baku, St. Petersburg, Budapest, Seville, Bucharest, yeah,
you got it. Yeah.
Bucharest, Amsterdam, Glasgow, and Copenhagen. So, Scott,
yes,
city you want to visit the most, or coolest? You think coolest city out of these? You go first with the first pick, Scott.
I do have a city I do really want to go to, but I know you're not going to pick it second. So, I'm gonna say tough. Probably Copenhagen. London's a cliche.
Ooh.
I do want to go to London. Don't get me wrong. You're probably going to pick London second overall, but Copenhagen, Denmark, beautiful city, beautiful country. To be honest, it's small, but again, Denmark's it's well off our not
beautiful country.
Beautiful country, and Copenhagen is a beautiful city. Right on the water. It's close to Malmo, Sweden. So go watch some hockey there. But
there's a beautiful bridge when they were doing the juniors in Malmo. They had like the beautiful bridge they were showing between Denmark and Sweden.
Yeah. Copenhagen is my pick.
All right.
Yeah, that's my first pick.
Second pick. I don't know if I was thinking London with my first pick, but I'm gonna turn the tables a little bit and see how you like me taking Amsterdam. Second. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna take Amsterdam. I read a book about Amsterdam and how like the origins of Amsterdam and how it first got started. It's a really cool city, and I'm not even talking about like the weed, the red district, or any of that sort of stuff. Cool country also, the Netherlands. I think I would like the Netherlands. I think it'd be cool to go and just bike around and just rollerblade or whatever. Just go and explore. But Amsterdam seems like
I've never seen you on a bike.
No, I think that would be really cool. I think go around Amsterdam and just explore on a bike. I know my mother and father, when they were together, they went for like, I think it was an anniversary trip. They went to Amsterdam, and my mother said she had never seen more people smoking on bikes than in Amsterdam.
That's right there. That's good.
I think I have to master being on the bike first, and then I'll start mastering the smoking on the bike. So once I learn how to bike, then I'll start smoking on the bike. Amsterdam's my second city. Scott, what's the third pick?
Munich, Germany.
Oh, okay.
This is probably the closest city I was in. I was in a city 3-4 hours east of Munich. I want to go to Munich for my whole life. Bayern Munich is my favorite football club. The boys. Neuer's the GOAT. No, I'm just kidding. But Munich's. It's not the most beautiful city, but it's a city that there's things that I like there. It's near the Black Forest. It's South Germany, so sort of ish near the Alps. Munich, my pick.
Cool. City, I think that would be cool, or at least exciting to go to for my second pick, fourth overall. I'm gonna go with Rome. I'm gonna take Rome because Italy, I think, would be a cool country. I think I am maybe part Italian. I don't think there's any truth to that, but there is part of me that just loves pizza, red wine, sports. I think Italy would be a great country for me. I feel like I would be a great Italian.
Would you? You wouldn't love the heat, though. I mean, actually, maybe a bit.
It's the humidity that gets me. The humidity, I hate the humidity. Like the heat, I don't mind. Like I don't mind. Like it's a scorcher here in Vancouver, right? Like I don't mind the heat. It's just when it's humid, it fucking sucks.
That's actually, yeah, you would like Italy because it's just dry heat. Right? So
And yeah, I would like. I love the heat. Rome would be awesome. I think. Cool country. I'm gonna take Rome for my second pick, fourth overall. Who do you have fifth?
Fifth overall. I'm surprised. This city hasn't been picked yet. London is my fifth.
Okay.
This was definitely the steal of the draft. London is my fifth overall pick. What can we say about London? The mecca of the world in a way. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. But yeah, London. Nothing else to say about it.
I would love to go visit London and go see England. I think it'd be really cool and really neat to explore.
100%. Ian, you were up sixth overall.
Sixth overall. I'm gonna take Glasgow.
Really?
I'm gonna take Glasgow 6. Because my ancestral home is Scotland. I think Glasgow has golf courses. I could at least go and do that.
The links courses are thriving and prosperous in that part of the world.
Yeah, so I think I would go do that. I can't say a lot about Scottish food. I don't know a lot about Scottish food. Bagpipes, I go play bagpipes. And I think I would have a kick-ass time. I think I could have a kick-ass time in Scotland. I've heard Glasgow Glasgow I've heard is like a bit of a boring city, which I mean, fair enough. I mean, it weather-wise, it's going to be pretty wet and pretty cool.
Edinburgh is more like for the young people.
That's what I've been told. Yes.
Scotland, yeah. Aberdeen's very like quiet, very remote-ish.
Yes.
Edinburgh's the place to go if you want to go to Scotland. Edinburgh, that's where you're flying to, anyways. I think, depending on where you're coming from, but.
Possibly.
Edinburgh's the place to go. In
Scotland, not Glasgow. So are you saying I reached a bit with Glasgow?
Yes, you 100% reached with Glasgow.
All right. Who do you have seventh?
Ooh, I'm gonna say Seville, Spain.
Okay.
Again, I'm a hot weather guy. I love the heat. This weather is awesome. I'm mad I'm not outside right now, but that's okay. We have lots of summer left here in the Northern Hemisphere in Canada.
Yeah, I'm sorry I've taken you from.
No, fuck, that's all good. Seville, Spain, my next pick. I would, if Barcelona was here, I would have taken Barcelona third overall.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's my problem with Seville is that it's like the third city I think I would visit in Spain, like out of places to visit in Spain.
Madrid.
Yeah. So
I'm with you there. Yeah, Seville's my seventh overall. Yeah.
It's your fourth, my seventh overall. My fourth.
Some tough picks now. Tough sledding. Do you even know where Bucharest is?
It's in Romania.
Yeah, that's good.
So I'm a geography guy, all right? Bucharest is in Romania. Budapest is in Hungary. Yes. St. Petersburg is in Russia. Baku's in Azerbaijan.
Very good.
I'll say Bucharest.
Okay, in Romania, interesting.
I will say Romania. You know what? That's my outside of the box dark horse pick. I heard like there's a lot of like cool city full of culture. Like Vienna is apparently a very nice city. Prague is apparently very nice. Budapest is pretty nice as well. Bucharest, I'm gonna say Bucharest because also there's rugby in Romania. I don't know a whole lot else about Bucharest. There's probably some cool Eastern European architecture. Maybe I'll go see some Soviet stuff. Maybe back in the day. I don't know. Bucharest is my fourth pick. That's eighth overall. Scott, your final pick, ninth.
St. Petersburg, Russia. Okay. Russia. I'm a Canadian white male, so going to Russia might be a little interesting, but St. Petersburg is on the Europe side, which is beneficial to me in a lot of ways, and I think Russian architecture is pretty dope. Not gonna lie. And, CSKA St. Petersburg is home in St. Petersburg, Russia, so it's a good KHL team. Not that I'm there to watch hockey, but yeah, I mean, based to be honest, based on process of elimination, I've been to Baku, and I don't really want to go to Budapest, so I'll pick St. Petersburg.
I was gonna say that was probably the best choice out of the remaining contenders. Again, I've heard Russia. I've heard is beautiful. Uh,
Oh,
St. Petersburg is apparently very nice. So now it's down to me picking Baku and Budapest. Hmm, I, I'm gonna say Baku.
good choice.
I've never been to. What's Baku like?
I was 4 months old when I was there, so
Oh,
I to be,
okay.
but it's right on the Caspian Sea. If that
Yes.
helps.
I was gonna say. So we've had this conversation. So Baku is like below sea level, which is probably like the one negative about it because if it floods for whatever reason.
Well, you
Um,
in Amsterdam too. Give us 10 meters of sea level rise, and Amsterdam's underwater.
yeah, but there's cooler stuff to do in Amsterdam than Baku.
That's fine.
But also Baku, there's an F1 race. Um,
Because you're such a big F1 guy, right?
I'm a big F1 guy. Well, it's not really Amsterdam, but there's also a race in the Netherlands.
Do you know where it is?
Zandvoort.
Okay.
Baku. We're gonna leave out Budapest, which that seems like a bit of a mistake. I've heard, is Budapest okay?
Budapest is the capital of Hungary. I think it's okay.
Yes.
I have relatives-ish from Hungary, so I should go, pay him a visit. But again, Hungary's, I don't know.
Hungary's I've heard is a shit country, like run by still Eastern European dictators.
Compared to some other countries in Eastern Europe, I don't think so. But
Okay.
yeah, like it's of the host cities, it's definitely down the list.
Well, I was gonna say I'm just not shit in terms of like beauty or like things to do, just in terms of who's actually running it and how the country is being operated.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's our places we like to visit or places we think are cool. Euro 2020 host city draft, just how we had intended. Next thing we're gonna add a little bit of entertainment here because you know what? Why not? I know we want to do some more content in the summer. We're gonna talk some entertainment. Add a little spice to this
We are
podcast.
a sports pop culture and entertainment brand, and the pop culture and entertainment brand part of the brand don't get talked about enough. So, yeah.
This is gonna be so. We're gonna talk about some albums. We're gonna talk about some music.
Yeah.
I tried to throw out Taylor Swift has a new album which is coming out apparently in November. I've been told. Scott doesn't know anything about that. Lord apparently has a new song called Solar Power, which I just saw it on the YouTube Music. Don't know anything about that. So Scott, what albums do you want to talk about? What music do you want to discuss?
I didn't know you were a Lord or Taylor Swift guy, to be honest. I knew you're always a Katy Perry guy, but
No, I'm just talking about relevant stuff it's a bit more current than what we had planned.
okay, yeah, okay.
Plus,
Do you want?
plus we're trying to hit a lot of demos here, so not.
Well, yeah, that's true. That is true. Do we want to start with Culture 3?
Sure, let's talk about Culture 3 first.
Migos. You guys know him. You know him. You love him. Culture 1 came out in 2016. Culture 2 in 2018, and Culture 3 dropped June 11th, 2021, with 19 new tracks plus 4 bonus tracks, I believe.
On the deluxe album, I think they got 4 bonus tracks.
There are some great features on this album: Drake, Cardi B, Polo G, Future, Justin Bieber, Juice WRLD, Pop Smoke, and Young Boy Never Broke Again. Ian, do you have a favorite song from this album?
I was listening back to this album. What's the one with the one with Drake? I listened again and I thought it was pretty good. I'm just gonna pull it up again here. Having Our Way was good. I liked Avalanche. I thought that was good. They also did one, I guess because I like sports, they did it with a song titled Mahomes. I thought that was also good. One I didn't like Cardi B's feature because I don't think she's that good. I'm sure I'm gonna get some flack for that, but Cardi B not good.
But your opinion. Okay.
That's fine. Yeah, Mahomes, Avalanche, Having Our Way. Those are my 3 favorite songs off the album. For the most part, I thought it was a better album than Culture 2.
Oh, that's a hot take.
I think it was Culture 1 was good for when it came out. Culture 2 was fine. It had a couple good songs in there, and I think Culture 3 is as an album overall better.
Okay.
Not that I'm a music expert by any means, but
Right.
just
All right.
just throwing out my opinion
Yeah. Okay.
on my podcast. No,
I like it. It's your podcast. I like it. I love Modern Day. Modern Day is a classic. That is as classic Migos as it gets. Modern Day, yeah. Quavo went nuts. Take off his, Quavo went mad because of what happened with Saweetie, because they broke up.
yeah.
And Quavo snapped on his new song. So, you'd love to see it. I love Modern Day is an absolute banger. I like Light It Up with Pop Smoke, but maybe that's just me. I'm a little biased. I'm a big Pop Smoke guy, but maybe that's just me. What You See with Biebs is actually pretty good too. I don't mind that.
We've had a conversation about Biebs where I've said like Biebs, like when he started he sucked, then he actually like improved, and I thought he actually had a couple of decent songs, and then I think he fell off again. This song, listening back over again, it's better than second time than I thought the first time, but that's just me.
There you go.
Is there a song you didn't like, or a song you didn't enjoy listening to?
Oh, to be honest, I have to look through the album again and see. Straighten's good, but actually, no, I'm not gonna say it's bad. Straighten is a good song too. I like that one.
Did you have a song that you just outright disliked?
Wow. Malibu with Polo G, maybe.
Yeah, I kind of agreed with you on that.
That would be the one that kind of sticks out to me. They're all pretty good, to be honest. But again, I'm not gonna look at artists negatively. It's just like I don't love it, but other people might, and that's the thing with music. It's so hard to judge and what people like and what they don't. And I think that's a sign of a good artist. Is like, yeah, you might have 3 or 4 songs you like from an album, but the other 15 you're not going to, and other people might like other songs that your songs that you like that they might not. So
it's why it's a hot take and opinion. I like listen, I don't have anything against Amigos. Like I think they're a good band for what they made.
Yeah.
Like I don't, just because I say I don't like a song doesn't mean I hate them. Like that's the thing. The problem is with some of this stuff. It's just because you say you don't like it means, oh, you hate so and so. It's like, no, I just didn't like the song.
No, for sure. But yeah, good. Culture's a great album. I was maybe overhyping the drop, but it was great. It's a great album. I'm really happy. I hope they do Culture 4. They might not, but if they do, I'd be happy. So yeah, good stuff. Let's talk about the off season.
Yes, which is what the Toronto Maple Leafs are in right now.
Yes, they are. They're in that a lot. It's funny. Let me just preface this with Off Seasons by J. Cole, if you haven't heard. Came out in May, I believe.
Yes, May 14th, I think it was.
The first 3 songs of this album, they all fucking slap. They all hit hard.
So here's the thing. I said originally at first I didn't like this album. I think I'm that asshole who like doesn't like it when stuff comes out immediately, but then you have to listen to it a few times and then I actually enjoy it. But
that's normal. Some people are like that.
There was one song, I can't remember where it was, where he had didn't he have a homophobic slur that he used in a song and something about anti-gay, I think it was.
I don't know. That doesn't ring a bell to me.
I'll have to listen into it again. But there was one song, I forgot to mark it down. But anyway, I mean, what song did you like from this album?
Well, the first 3 songs, so 95 South, Amari, and My Life, those 3 all, to me, they're all great songs. I have all 3 downloaded on my phone right now. So, to be full disclosure, I've never been the biggest J. Cole guy. I do like his music, and I think his bars are immaculate a lot of times. And I'm more of a beats guy. I'm not really the song, the lyrics. That to me, I don't always pay attention to that. I pay attention to the beat, and
that's today's music. It doesn't matter what you sing about it. All matters about it is the beat and how hard does it go. That's what it just seems like matters. This is how Boomer I sound, where it's just the lyrics don't matter today. It's all about the beats. What about good lyrics or good songs?
Well, lyrics do matter, and that's the thing. And that's the thing that I like about songs that are on my playlist are songs that have a good beat, but also the lyrics are they're good. And I think Amari's really good. My Life's really good.
I thought Amari was really good.
Amari's
I know there was huh?
Pride is the Devil is getting a lot of love.
You know the joke about that. I think I've said it a few times where like I can't believe he released Pride is the Devil during Pride Month. Like how dare he? Or with Pride Month coming up, what an asshole! Like no, I think it's a good album. Again, I listened back to it again. I thought it was a good album. I thought Amari was good. I don't think it's up there for his best albums. I think it's a fine.
2014 Fearless Drive is still the best album.
Yeah, I don't think it's up there, but I still think it's a solid album. A good listen if you haven't listened to it already.
I will agree with that. Did you want to talk about Lord or Taylor Swift?
Applying Pressure, by the way. I wanted to throw that out there too. Did you say Applying Pressure? I thought that was.
I know. I said 95 South, Amari, and My Life.
Okay, I said Applying Pressure too was another one I thought was good. I don't really want to talk about Lord or Taylor Swift. I don't know a whole lot about them, but I'm sure we'll talk about that when their albums. I'm sure we'll do like a Bachelor Taylor Swift like just combo episode in November when this all comes out, and basically we just talk for 6 hours because nobody wants to stop talking about how much Taylor Swift and The Bachelor rocks.
Well, the fact is that everyone's different opinion on music is going to be so different, and that's again we could spend hours talking about different artists and different songs, and like I could go into a good chat about Travis Scott and Utopia, and that's how that's going to come out hopefully in this calendar year. Drake still hasn't dropped his album; he's only dropped an EP. So,
but he will though. He'll drop it this summer.
We hope so.
That's what he said. Throw back to like when the Raptors, like I think when we were still in high school and the Raptors got eliminated by the Cavs and Bronny's just like, your team lost, and it's just like, no, my season starts like June 27th or whenever his album dropped, and it's just like, okay, but you root for this team, like, okay, whatever, fine, you do you, Drake. Yeah, that's when we went.
What album was that? That was Scorpion.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Then we graduated, yeah. With Nonstop, God's Plan, and what's the other one? In my Feelings, another one too.
That all sounds right. Can't Take a Joke is another song on that album that slaps. Do you want to go to the mailbag?
Yes, isn't it pretty hefty?
It's a pretty thick mailbag, I'll tell you. Also, I like, by the way, I think we'll keep the entertainment part because I think it's a nice addition compared to just good, bad, or insert adjective here, which we actually got a good, bad, or insert adjective here question for the mailbag.
Oh, we did.
We did.
The fans listen. They give us mailbag questions, so
we're good at what we do. Let's start from Max Kleben, NBA offseason hot takes. Do you have any hot takes for the NBA offseason or moves you think might happen? Obviously, again, we're doing this Monday where the Philadelphia 76ers shot the bed. The Brooklyn Nets, somewhat injured, couldn't get it done against the Milwaukee Bucks. But do you have any big NBA offseason hot takes, things you think might happen in the NBA?
The Suns are going to win the NBA Finals. The hot take.
That's not really an off-season hot take, but sure, yeah.
No, but Simmons is going to LA. No, sorry, no, hold on. Embiid's going to LA. Simmons is going to stay.
That'll be ooh.
Let's see. If the Bucks don't win, Giannis is out. They have
even after signing the deal.
I think so. Yeah.
He just forced it to trade. Interesting.
Hey, you're asking for hot takes.
That is true. That is true.
I don't necessarily agree, myself with these. I think Giannis is staying in Milwaukee forever, but that's just for providing some creating some conversation. I think the biggest one I have, Embiid to LA, whether it's Los Angeles Clippers or Los Angeles Lakers, that's yet to be seen. But Embiid to LA.
I actually don't mind that. Even if it is the Clippers, I think that makes some sense. you're gonna hate me saying this. I think Dame's out of Portland within a year. Like within a year, like in the next 365 days, Dame is out in Portland.
Dame is loyal.
Well, they might trade. Well, no, they might trade him. Like that's the problem. Is that like they might because problem is that Portland's been doing this so many times. I don't know if Portland's just like we're gonna go a different direction. Which I don't know how you get better. There's not really a path to getting better by training one of the top 5 players in the league, which I think he is when he's hot and when he's on. He's one of the top 5 best players in the league.
He's MVP conversation in a lot of years, I think, isn't he?
Possibly. It's just people aren't going to vote for somebody in Portland because nobody watches Trailblazers games.
Portland also isn't a top. They're not a top seed team, and it's not just him there. Like Portland, they have a good team. They just don't get it done in the playoffs.
No,
I'm wrong on that, but like again, CJ McCollum's there. Nurkic is pretty good. Their bench is solid. It's not great, but it's solid. It's enough for what you need. And I do agree. They do need a better. They need a better front court. That's if they are to get better. I agree. There's not a lot of room to get better in Portland, but if they are to get better, they need a better front court.
The other hot take I've been hearing that's been floated around, it's Ben Simmons to the Warriors.
Really?
Kind of makes sense where you got a really good, defender in Simmons who can't shoot, and then you just put him up with a bunch of shooters like Steph and Clay and those guys.
Make him be the facilitator, yeah.
Maybe. Exactly. More from Aiden Ramich, more likely to win the Euros, Belgium or France. I think we know who you said, Belgium going to the finals, but
yeah, Belgium. Yeah, hard to go against France though.
That's why I'll take France, just for difference of opinion. I'll say France.
I'll say Belgium, but that's gonna be if that's a semifinal matchup. That's gonna be one hell of a semifinal.
Neither one of these teams are gonna win the Euro. That's my hot take with that. Neither Belgium nor France will win the Euro.
Interesting.
Is Giannis the best player in the world from SYP creator Rav?
The best player in the world?
I don't think so. Here's the thing. I don't think Giannis. Pardon?
Right now or ever?
I'd say right now.
No.
He's not the guy. Here's the thing. He's not someone I would build. He's not the first guy I would build my team around. I would probably build my team around Durant right now.
Right now? Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say Luka, but that's just because he's young.
Yeah, that's also a good pick too.
Again, that's the whole conversation. It's the debate. It's like, are you building a team for a single season? Or are you building a team for a franchise?
And if I'm building a team for like the next 3 to 5 years, I'm probably building it starting with Durant. If I'm building it for the next 5 to 8, 10 years, it's probably Luka. Giannis would probably also get consideration in either of those categories. Like he's probably a top 5 player for both, but
I think right now he's easily a top 3 player.
Yeah,
right?
Probably.
Without a doubt. I wouldn't. Is he top 1? Hard to say. I'm still. Yeah, it's hard. Again, I don't follow basketball as close as some of you guys do, and but I would say no. I'd say I just want to build my team around Luka, but that's just me.
So Giannis is not the best player in the world, Rav. Sorry if you think that.
Not right now.
Right now.
If he.
We'll probably have that debate in 2-3 weeks if Milwaukee wins the title.
We might actually. That's a good point.
So
I can say he's the best player of all time, or of right now.
But best player right now, I can't say it.
Yeah.
Rab also asked, are the Habs winning it all, or are the Golden Refs getting it? Who is the unsung hero so far? So we talked about earlier who we think is going to win the series between Montreal and Vegas. Who's an unsung hero for you in that series right now?
For the Knights or for the Habs? Or
just both in general.
If the Knights win, I'm gonna say it's Robin Leonard, but no, I'm just saying about that. Not Robin Leonard. Alex Pietrangelo.
Yeah.
For the Golden Knights and for Montreal.
Pietrangelo's arguably been their MVP best player in the series.
Oh, this series, 100%.
Yeah.
The Vegas Knights defense has been unbelievable. And not just defensively, like they're putting up goals, not just points, goals too. I think the defensive core in the playoffs has like 13 or 14 goals.
I was going to say, I thought I heard a stat somewhere where like Vegas's defense contributes 24, 25, like a quarter of the team's points.
Oh, points, yeah.
A quarter of the team's points, and Montreal's defense contributes 3% of the team's like points. Like it's just a stark contrast between the two teams defensively.
Interesting. Yeah, and that's the thing with the Golden Knights is that they are so powerful and their defense jump in the rush so often, and that's what makes them dangerous. You always see you'll see the forwards flipping back in the defense, and that especially if they have, I'm not sure what they have play defensive coverage as, but if they play man to man, that fucks with people because again you got a defenseman in the high slot and you have a forward below the goal line in situations where the defense and forward switch. So it throws all kinds of defensive miscues in, and that's what leads to goals. And I think the Knights might be doing that more. So,
my unsung hero, I guess, in this series, I don't know if he's unsung, but Josh Anderson. I think he's had a nice role. I mean, here's the thing. I would go either Anderson or Caulfield because I think either one of them, both of them have contributed offensively, creating chances, creating opportunities for a Montreal team that is starved for opportunities and good opportunities.
I was gonna say the fourth line for the Montreal unsung hero, but I'm gonna stick with Pietrangelo just for the Golden Knights side of it. So yeah,
I'll say Caulfield or Anderson. They're not really unsung, but more like in terms of creating opportunity. I don't know if it's been said enough how well they've been at creating opportunities and offensive pressure. Eliza, who's been on the pod, I think a month ago.
By the way, great. Your logos look great.
Yeah, she did the logos. Great podcast guest. Eliza, she asked Serena Williams or Tom Brady?
I'm gonna say Serena Williams purely because first of all, she has more championships than Tom. And yes, there are 4 championships in tennis in a year, and Tom Brady only has 1 championship per year. But Serena Williams had won a championship. I don't think she was pregnant, but she had just been pregnant.
I think she was.
Maybe she. I don't remember exactly.
I know what story you're talking about, though.
Yeah. Serena Williams, greatest female tennis player of all time. I would put her in the GOAT conversation.
Serena Williams, I searched it up. She has an 85% career winning percentage. Tom Brady only has 75%. Not good enough, Tom. Also, tennis is more of an individual sport than football is. Football is a team sport. And then, like you say, more championships. She's won more championships. Tom hasn't won enough championships. So I have to go with Serena Williams, probably one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Oh, 1,000%. That's like the GOAT conversation has to be sorted into individual sports and team sports. And
because Brady's the GOAT for football. Like I'm not arguing. Like that's what we're arguing. Like in terms of just
there's no argument with that.
Yeah, no. But in terms of like comparing him to Serena Williams, it's not really close.
No, and it's also to be honest, it's not a fair comparison because again, they're playing different sports, and it's just not the right. Like you have to compare individual sports with individual sports and team sports with team sports. Like you compare Tom Brady, MJ, Wayne Gretzky, and
Kobe.
Sure, we'll say Kobe. We could say I don't know.
Derek Jeter.
Yeah, maybe. Mariano Rivera, I'd throw in there too.
Sure.
But that's the whole other conversation, a good conversation we could have every podcast if we wanted to. But for Eliza's question, Serena Williams is the greatest female tennis player. I almost say greatest tennis player of all time.
From Jevin, he's got 4 questions. Jevin Lefebvre from the Left Side Heavy Pod. Good, bad, insert adjective here. Steven Stamkos. The career retrospective on Stamkos is going to be interesting. Because he's kind of like Lemieux in the sense that he's not healthy all the time, and he hasn't been healthy for a lot of his career, yet he still contributed quite a bit.
Yeah. I'll say good, bad, insert. I'm gonna insert adjective. I'm gonna say electric with an asterisk.
Okay.
Pun is intended because he plays for the Lightning.
Yes.
That man can Stamkos shoot the puck, and he is. I'd say one of the more underrated leaders in the NHL. Tampa's got a great team. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't, let's say he's like Dustin Brown with the Kings in that, like he's a lesser player there's better players on the team, but Stamkos is one of the premier players on the Lightning. Don't get me wrong. and man, he can shoot the puck. 65 goals in 2010 or 2009, 10. Nuts. The kid's nuts. Stammer's a good player, and he might be hoisting another cup this year, but we'll see.
He's a good player. It's funny when they were talking about the rebuild with Tampa eons ago, and he was going to be the focal guy. Like, he was going to be the guy that was going to change it all around. And now he's like the fourth best player on the team.
Yeah, fifth
best player on the team
behind Hedman,
Kucherov,
Point, and then Stamkos.
So he's so good. He's so good.
Well, that's the thing. Stamkos on any other team would be a top or second best player on the team. Because on Tampa, he's the fifth best player because of how sick the other guys
are. Jevin also asked, what do you think Matthew Wolf's ceiling is? How many majors for Matthew Wolf? I was pondering this yesterday. You think 5? Okay, I was going to say like 2-3 majors. Okay. Like, I think he's a good golfer. I thought he was going to do better at the U.S. Open than what he did. I thought he was going to kind of be closer to contention than he was. I think he was hovering around even par, 1 over for most of the weekend.
Under. I think he finished 1 or 2 under.
Okay.
Wolfie's a young talent. He kind of reminds me a lot of Luka in a weird way. They kind of burst on the scene at a similar-ish time. Wolfie's going to win 5. He's going to win a PGA. He's going to win.
I think he'll win a U.S. Open at some point.
Yeah, 100%. He'll win a U.S. Open at some point. He'll win a Masters. Actually, maybe I should say 3. I'll say 3 to be safe. But the one he won't win is a British Open. That's
fair. I think 3 majors is a safe ceiling for Matthew Wolf.
I agree.
As a golfer. Jevin also asked Kevin Durant best offensive player of all time.
Best offensive player or best scorer?
Best. He says best offensive player all time.
No, God no.
Who is it then?
Michael Jordan, MJ.
Is it Michael?
Well, it's hard to say.
The problem is that this is also the NBA debate. Like, you're dealing with 2 different generations here, where like
several, because we could say Wilt's the best offensive player of all time.
Sure, absolutely. And if you put all the guys in today's NBA where they just call everything, foul wise,
it's hard to say.
I'm not going to say yes to Durant being the best offensive player of all time, but he is close. Like a 7-footer who can shoot threes with handles, who can post up if he really needs to.
Yeah, Kevin Durant's a hell of a basketball player. I'm not going to argue that against that.
No.
The best offensive. Is he the best scorer of all time? Yeah, you could argue that. I'd say he's probably top 2 behind MJ, but in terms of the best scorer, like if you need a basket late and you're calling on one guy with 2 seconds left, I would take MJ, but Kevin Durant's a close second.
Good option. Final question from Jevin. Gareth Bale's future after Euros. Now, there has been some talk about him leaving, I believe it's Real Madrid after the season's over. I would think he would go back to England, because everything I've heard is that there's no money in Spain. So maybe he'll go to Italy, go to La Liga, or Serie A, in Italy. Juventus, pair him with Ronaldo. You do that. That's what you do if you're Juventus. I don't know.
They've done it before, so why not? Yeah, I guess that's a good take. Yeah, Italy's had Serie A's had a resurgence. They've gotten some.
Serie A is back.
Serie A is back. La Liga is dying.
Yeah.
It's bad when neither Barcelona or Madrid win. I guess that's a good thing for the league, because who won this year? It was Atletico, right?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
That won La Liga. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's Bale to Juventus.
Bale to Juventus. That's what we think is going to happen. Gareth Bale.
We're no football experts by any means.
England or Juventus. That's the hot take for Gareth Bale. Like, we know what we're talking about. Scott, any final thoughts before we head out here for this podcast?
Go Islanders. I hope they win tonight. I hope they win Game 6. I hope they go to the Cup final and they do some damage.
All right. I love the sound of that. Thank you very much for listening. Again, I got it here. In case you haven't checked it out, SYP hoodies are in. Get your hoodies. DM us. Thank you very much for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like this video. You know the drill. I don't need to tell you. You guys know how it works. Thank you very much again for watching and listening. Peace out.